Hi guys, it's Janet Wakeland with RemarkablyCreated.com. In today's One Take Wonder video, we're going to take a look at creating some really sweet and quick and easy, what I'm calling stamped art canvases. What we're doing is we're creating a watercolor wash background, and then we're going ahead and adding stamped images. In this case, I'm choosing to emboss them for that touch of metallic, but adding images to them. Here in this case, one of our host sets, Dare to Dream, and the dragonfly. And then this one, the Ribbons of Courage, with one of the greetings from so many seashells. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this project and make a couple of them together. So what I'm working with, again, are little canvases, and there are lots of different types. If you can see this one here, it's about a 1/2 inch wide. It's a small little one that's literally just 2.5 inches by 2.5. The canvases come in all shapes, sizes, price points. This is a white canvas. Our craft stores happen to have some that are a craft or a burlap, as well as a black background. For my projects, I'm working with these thinner ones just because of their price point. I like the price point here when you're getting 5 of them for $2.99. Makes it for just perfect projects. I'm not as worried if I mess one up. And in this case, they are double wrapped. And this one size that I'm working with is 5 by 5. You're going to want to check all of the big box stores, AC Moore, Michaels, Hobby Lobby. There's another company called Dick Blick. And all of them ship online and sell online too. You just want to do a search for canvas panels and maybe the size that you're looking for. So 5 by 5. And then the other size that I have here is 4 by 6. And I like working with that size as well too. If you're a demonstrator watching this size and this price point is perfect for classes. If you're somebody who likes to sell your art at craft and vendor fairs and things like that, again, this price point is perfect. But it's also the perfect price if you want to do something fun like this with a group. Maybe you have a slumber party and a bunch of young teens that you want to entertain. The price point is perfect for that as well. I also like this weight. It makes it easy for me to slip them into an envelope and ship them. Also, I like the way that they stand on these little mini easels. And again, these are from the same big box stores. Just do a search for black mini easels, and those sit on there and look really, really nice. So that's the canvases. So let's go ahead and let's work with these here. And I'm going to be working with some blues. And so what we're working with is we're working with Stampin' Up's Classic Re-Inkers. Anytime you order an ink pad, you should always consider getting the coordinating refills at the same time in addition to inking your ink pad up. There's so many other uses for them. The watercolor washes, actually adding them to your fine tip glue to get some colored fine tip glue. All kinds of great things that you can be doing with this. Adding them to spritzers and spritzing colored dots. Directly painting with them, so lots of possibilities. So the colors that I'm working with are Bermuda Bay, Lemon Lime Twist, and in this case, Pool Party. I also have a little bit of Old Olive and Soft Sky squeezed into my little container. I have a tiny little paint tray. Check your dollar stores. They're a great source of these little paint trays. And if you don't have a little paint tray like this, the lids from embellishment containers, or just grab yourself a plastic disposable plate and squeeze some drops of the re-inker out kind of around the perimeter of that, leaving space, of course, so that they don't run into each other. The other tool that I'm working with is our Aqua Painter. Our Aqua Painters are sold in a set of 2 with 2 different tips. And in this case, I'm working with the really broad tip. I have water in the base of this. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just squeeze out a drop or 2 on here. Pick up a little bit of our Bermuda Bay. And it's always easier to start lighter and then go darker if you want to add a little bit of darkness to it. You can always also test, as you can see here on my piece of paper, test it on your 11 by 17 grid paper. And this grid paper is sold in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, and I can't imagine creating without it. It keeps my surface so nice. And it is one of the gifts in the $72 gift pack that Stampin' Up! Is giving to brand new demonstrators joining my team this month and joining that Stampin' Up! And I'm just going to go back in and add a little touch of darkness in places. I'll just swish this till it swishes clean. And we'll add just a little bit of water again to the canvas. And I do that just making it wet here first so that it spreads that much nicer. And our lemon lime twist. Lemon lime twist in Bermuda Bay. Such an amazing color combination. The very hardest part with doing washes is deciding when it's enough. Like, when are you done? When are you like happy with, the look of it? Are you happy with, how thick each one of these levels are? Do you want them equal? How far to the edge do you want? Again, it can just be a little challenging. You can also come in here and blend the colors just a little bit. Maybe I wanted that a little more blue, but you can just kind of play around with these just a little bit. I can pick up a little bit of that old olive. If I want a little bit while it's wet, it'll still kind of spread a little bit. So you're going to just put your different colors on there. And let's just, I want to put a little bit more blue back in up here at the top. Pick up some of that blue so it fades a little bit. So you're just going to play with it, okay? There's no right or wrong way. It's the way that you like it. When you are all done with your wash, then what you're going to do is you need to dry it. You've got 3 options that I know of. There may be other options out there, but in my craft studio, I came up with 3 of them. And the first one is just to let it air dry, just setting it aside and letting it air dry. The second way is to take your heat tool and just heat it until it's all dry. And you're going to just check that by, touching it. And then the third way is to lay an old tea towel over the top of it and press a hot iron to it, and that will dry it. The reason why you want to use an old tea towel or an old towel is because some of that ink may transfer to the towel. So you want to use a towel that you don't mind getting stained and dirty, and I'm sure most of us as crafters have that. Another thing that you can see where this is running a little bit, another thing that you can do is if you have too much water on it, you can also pat it dry. It'll lift some of it up. You can see it takes a long time for the color to be absorbed back in, and that itself is a pretty wash. It's just a little bit picked up. You can also kind of pat at it with a paper towel or a sponge for other different effects and things like that. So here are 3 different ones that I already had drying. And again, you want it to be dry, especially if you're going to be stamping on them so that the ink doesn't smear. And then if you're embossing, so that the embossing sticks to the stamped image. So let's start first with this one. And we're just going to literally be creating right from the images in my head. When I did this as a Facebook Live video for my followers, I made the projects right from scratch. So I'm going to be doing the same thing with you guys as well. So it'll be interesting to see if I can have what's in my head turn out. So what I have here is the Beautiful You stamp set. It's actually a 2-part stamp set. This is one of 2. There's a second case with images. And I have our Versamark ink pad. I like to leave it rubber side up and take the ink to the image. That way I know I'm getting a good coverage. That way I know I'm not smushing extra hard or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and stamp the young lady. And it looks like she has a puddle at her feet, so that's why I want the blue down here. And we're going to press. And I like to kind of walk my fingers along the image. And I like to press and hold for a few seconds longer than I would on cardstock, just because of the nature of the canvas. I want to make sure that I've got good inking on here. And I'm going to use gold embossing powder. And we're going to go ahead and we'll sprinkle that over top. And another tool that you might want to have on hand is just an inexpensive paintbrush. And you can go ahead any place that you might have a little extra on there. You could have also rubbed it with an embossing buddy. But this again is why you want the canvas dry, because had it not been dry, it just would have been, the outline, but as well as a blob of ink everywhere else. So then the next thing that we're going to do, excuse me here just for a second, I think, there we go, is we need to heat this now. And one of the things with heating, it's going to get loud in just a second, is I like to start in one place and follow the change. I don't like to sit here and do this. You end up missing a spot, and it actually takes longer because you're not heating any one spot. You're just kind of randomly going around in circles. So I like to start in one corner. I've also noticed as I've been working on these that it takes longer to heat emboss these than it does again on a piece of cardstock. So it'll get loud here for just a second. Stampin' Up's Heat Embossing Tools has what I call a built-in self-preservation mode. One of the things that I noticed, especially with doing canvases, because I have to run the heat tool for so long, is that if it gets way too hot, it will shut itself down. So if you've ever worked with our heat tool and you've turned it off and then gone to turn it back on again and it won't come on, it's because it's preventing itself from overheating. So I love that. It kind of keeps me in check. And so what you do is you just let it sit for a few seconds. It'll cool itself down, and then you turn it back on again. So, and then it has this nice protective cap on it so that you can't get to the hot metal tip like some of the older embossing tools, which makes this safe for working embossing with the younger crafters out there. And also with our seniors, a lot of times because of arthritis or different things, they grip things just a little differently. And so even when we're working with some of our seniors, then that helps with the safety. So again, we're just kind of following the change. Make sure. And one of the things you can do is tip it to the light, and you may not be able to see it out there in video land, but when I tip it, I can see that I have all elements. I've got our little fingertips there. It's just some fine lines. I want to make sure I have them all. Plus, I'm trying to heat and talk at the same time, so it's kind of like rubbing your belly and patting your head. So now I can go ahead and add our greeting. And in this case, I'm going to add the greeting that says, life may not be the party we had hoped for, but while we're here, we might as well dance. And in this case, I'm just going to stamp it with black ink. I'm just going to, let's put her on top of here so I remember to wash her. And, oops. Okay. Brand new stamp. It still has the backing on it. That's why it won't stick to the block. And where's our black ink? The reason why I'm going to do this instead of embossing it is because the words are so fine on this. So let me ink that up, and I'll show you on the piece of paper. The words are real fine, and I want to make sure that they pop and that they show up on this image. I should have slid her over just a little bit, but let's see if we can squeeze this in down under her leg. I don't want it kind of just floating out in the sky. So let's just see. Press, and we'll just kind of hold it nice and steady for just a few seconds. Again, like I said, I just like to make sure I'm making good contact. And then we have our greeting down in the corner. So now a couple of other fun things that we can do is we can work with our Wink of Stella. So if I want her dress to be shiny or the puddle at her feet. One of the things, of course, you can always just take your Wink of Stella direct, but I like to squeeze it out on a piece of paper and get a little puddle. And that allows me to lay it on thick to really get that that glimmer that I want, literally by painting it on nice and thick. In this case, we can paint her hair. And then if I wanted kind of like a look of the little raindrops, I can come in here and, you know, put some things that are going on because it looks like she's dancing in the puddle. I could also come in and add some of our glitter dots. I love these. They're in an ombre pattern, which allows them to coordinate with all of our different yellows, all of our different pinks, all of our different greens, all of our different blues, because of the way that they fade from dark to light. So you've got a lot of options, and they pick up the colors, you know, in our old olive and our garden green and our pear pizzazz, and they just pick up colors. So it's absolutely wonderful and fun to work with. So let's pick up some of the lighter little, you know, drops up in here, and you can just add that. Of course, you can add ribbon. You can dig into that craft stash and find all kinds of other fun stuff that you might want to be adding to your different canvas. So that's just one of the ways to do it. So let me show you some of the other ways that I've created with this. Another note is that you can also color right on here with your Stampin' Write markers if you wanted to. Of course, you can stamp with other colors. Here's one that I did with Magical Mermaids. I'm kind of enamored of mermaids right now. I'm in a mermaid phase. I feel like a teenager all over again, but I'm in a mermaid phase. And again, some of our different sparkle dots, embossed her all in white, and then the greeting in gold. And again, I've got the Bermuda Bay, I have the Lemon Lime Twist, and then on this case, it's Pool Party. Here were the ones that we showed earlier. I'll just bring them back in here for just a second. A little bit more bright and vivid background. In this case, I stamped the solid image in white craft ink and embossed in white, and then overlaid it in gold. We've got some of the I might turn it around this way. It's probably backwards for you guys. Sorry about that. We've got some of the glitter dots down the body. Dare to dream, every day is an adventure. So that's a fun one. This is the one I showed you in the beginning again. Underneath here is the ribbon in white embossing, our little mini gold trim, the word courage, miracles happen, and then you've got your little glitter dots. 3 others that we did. And in this case, you have Berry Blast, Flirty Flamingo, and you have Daffodil Delight, Beautiful Rose, and Life is a Beautiful Thing. I also happen to love flamingos, so this one's going upstairs. My powder bath is decorated with flamingos, so this is going to be a little accent in our powder bath. But Berry Burst, Flirty Flamingo, and in this case, Powder Pink. And left fairly dark, embossed our flamingo and Enjoy the Little Things. And then this one here we kept real clean and simple. From our Colorful Seasons bundle, we have Just Breathe, the chairs in gold, the seat covers in white, Berry Blast, Calypso Coral, and Daffodil Delight. So lots and lots of possibilities with these canvases. I can't wait for the launch of the holiday catalog so that we can also do some holiday versions. So have fun creating and playing with the different ideas and all of the different stamp sets and images out there with Stampin' Up! Thanks, guys.